My next guest has got another main event. He's going to be taking on Alexander Volkov, UFC Fight Night, June 4th. It's Jairzinho Rozenstruik, live from Paradise. Jairzinho, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you? How about you?
Hey, I'm doing well. You were telling me you were doing like a swimming workout before this or something?
Yeah, I'm busy. I'm going to do a swimming workout like right after this. So that's why I'm at this place. You say Paradise. It looks nice though. So yeah.
It looks pretty good. I know it's not completely sunny, but that's still great, man. And I know we were supposed to see a fight in February, then in April. I'm guessing that fight with Marcin Tybura is cursed, right? It just never ended up happening.
It looks like it, but it doesn't matter. I have a different opponent, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Did you ever get, because of those fight cancellations, did you ever get compensated for that from the UFC? Because a lot of it wasn't really your fault, right?
Oh yeah, I did. So that's the good thing about the UFC.
Yeah, I was going to say, because that would have been a bummer if you haven't, made any money since then, which is great. Was this kind of the earliest you could come back and take a fight? Like, take me through how the Volkov fight came together.
Nah, I mean, the fight was canceled. And then I called the management and say, hey, so what are you going to do? What's the best move?
Mm-hmm.
And then they figured it out with the UFC. And I want to fight as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And the soonest that they had was in June, so I get that fight and then I take it right away.
Well,
and also, it's a big name, it's a main event, so.
Yeah, sorry, and I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but that's what I was going to say. Is it's another main event too, which is always. I mean, the focus is going to be on you. Do you like that, or do you prefer to be, main card instead?
No, I like the focus to be on me, so I can put myself out there more. And yeah, of course, as a person, my stocks goes up. Especially when I put down a crazy performance all the time. Yeah, mostly that.
That's great. And let's talk about your opponent here, Alexander Volkov. Like the one guy you haven't fought in the weight class. He's a pretty notable guy, 34-10 record. Style-wise, how do you look at this fight?
I think it can be a stand-up fight because he's also a striker. I know he has some jiu-jitsu, but I think mostly it's going to be standing up, and yeah, we're gonna see how it plays out. Of course, I'm looking for the win, of course, and yeah.
Okay. What did you make of his last performance against Tom Aspinall? Some feel like Tom is really that good, and some other people felt like maybe Volkov's on the decline a bit. What was your assessment of his loss to Tom Aspinall?
Actually, I think it was expectable that Tom is good. But I didn't expect it to be so early in the match.
Yeah.
So I was surprised about that.
Do you think that's a sign that maybe he's not as durable as he used to be, or do you think it's just because Tom is that excellent?
I think maybe he's that excellent. Okay. And you can say that about a fighter like he's like climbing, like he's going back, or what. It is the moment, is the time you had the fight, and then you don't know what happened. Everything can happen, so maybe it was injured, maybe this, maybe that, but
okay.
Now it's time, so I'll see how he comes in and how he goes back.
Yeah, no, we'll see, and that's why this fight is so interesting. Training camp, who have been some of your main training partners leading into this fight?
No, I mean it's the same, training with all the heavyweights at the American Top Team. Doing sparring, make ourselves better, and yeah, good shape, of course, and I can't wait for this one as well.
Do you work with anyone a bit bigger just because of his, because he's a tall, lanky guy for the weight class? Do you work with anyone specifically for that, or is it just?
Yeah, I will go with a tall boxer and a tall grappler, and yeah, we've been make adjustments to that, of course, because it's something you got to be aware of. You got to be aware of the distance, the arm length, everything. So.
And I know last time we spoke, you were really sort of ramping up the conditioning and all that. I guess even more so for this fight because it's 5 rounds. Like, I guess you have to anticipate that the fight might go 5 rounds, right?
It might be, but I always be prepared for 5 rounds. And yeah, that's why I do my swimming workout. I do my cardio, my running, and everything. I always like to be in shape, especially cardio-wise, and I think it's one of my biggest power.
Yeah. How long have you been doing the swimming training? Have you always been doing this, or is this something recent?
I've always been doing this.
Oh, you have? Okay, that's cool. Yeah, because it's a really good workout, right? Because you can work every area of your body and stuff. Do you feel like it's kind of, because we've seen, lots of fighters do it. BJ Penn, remember back in the day, he had that whole thing where he was lifting up the rock out of the water. Did you ever see that video?
I saw it, but I don't do that.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's pretty tough to do that. Yeah, no, it's pretty hardcore. I imagine your corner will be the same. Your coach Michael Babb. Is there anyone else going to be in the cage with you?
No, it's going to be the same. Coach Babb, Conan, King Moen, and John Kelly, my strength and conditioning coach.
That's great. And how is the conditioning this camp? Do you feel like it's on par with what you did last time?
Yeah, to some point, I feel the same. And the only thing I did, I take a week off to get back, kind of reset my body, and I get right back into it. So that's the only thing I did, and it's going the good way. So,
yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Like, how did you deal with that? With the fact that you had the fight canceled. Like, was it difficult to because you were preparing for Marcin and then you had the fight canceled. How difficult was that to kind of ramp things up and then take a break and then go back into it? Was it difficult for you?
It is a little bit difficult, but it is what it is. You got to deal with things in life, and that's how I see it as well. And maybe this is a bigger opportunity. It started to be a bigger opportunity because it's a main event. And winning this fight means a lot to me. Volkov is a big name. He's been a champion in different promotions. So it's a big name, and I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, no, it's going to be really interesting. And how do you envision the fight playing out on June 4th? I know you don't like getting paid by the hour, Jairzinho, so I imagine you want to get in there and out there.
Oh, definitely. We all want to get in how easier. If it is easy, it's better. So you train, and you get paid in seconds, it's better. But while I see it, I'll be there. He's a big guy. He's a big tree. So I'll be more moving, finding my angles, and try to land what I can land and then see how he reacts. So, but I always say any error, any mistakes, I take you out. So.
Yeah, no, we've seen that a lot, which is great. There's a lot of things going on in your division right now. I know, again, the focus is on June 4th, but I'm sure you're aware of some of the other matchups that are happening. First, I just wanted to talk about a guy that you fought. Curtis Blaydes is now fighting Tom Aspinall. What do you think of that matchup? Curtis having to go to London to fight Tom in his backyard.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good matchup. Yeah, I know that those fights gonna come. It's the same as the fight with Cyril Gain and Tufasa. So I think the whole heavyweight division is kind of booked. So it's gonna be awesome after all this fight. So we know where we stand and who we're gonna face after this.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. Do you favor Blaydes in that fight with Aspinall? I mean, Aspinall, he hasn't lost in the UFC. Blaydes has. Do you give Aspinall the edge there, or do you think Blaydes can pull it off, having fought Blaydes?
I don't know. I don't really care who wins.
No?
For me, the most important thing is who I'm going to face after this. If it's going to be him or Blaydes or somebody else, I hope it play out good for them. And then I face one of them after, one of the fighters that booked in the heavyweight division, and especially I want to fight someone's rank above me, maybe Aspinall or Tufasa or whatever. So that's how I see it.
Okay, no, that definitely makes sense. It looks like they're going to do Jon Jones and Stipe. That's sort of the rumor, and it may or may not be for an interim title with Francis, sort of being uncertain with his injury. Do you think that's the fight to make? I mean, again, Jon hasn't had any fights at heavyweight, but he's also the former champ.
I definitely think it's the fight to make for the fans, but I disagree with him coming and fighting for the title, because we've been there running the division, and he doesn't. He was on the side sitting and saying he's coming to heavyweight, and like at first I was motivated. He coming to heavyweight, it can be a possible fight, and then it takes so long. 2 years and a half. So I kind of disagree with that he wasn't fighting, doing anything, and he jumped right in for the title. And I understand the other part is the fight to make for the fans, because it's gold, gold, or the greatest heavyweight of all time, as they call it. But I kind of disagree with that part.
Well, so if they did make the Stipe fight and it wasn't for a title, you'd be fine with that fight. It's just the interim title that would be the issue,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. What do you think they should do then for because it sounds like Francis isn't close to returning. He's got obviously some injuries and there's all the contract issues. What would make sense for an interim title, just as a matchmaker? Again, I know you're worried about your fight, but still, I'm sure you're thinking of the division.
The way I see it and the way I think about it is like the guys who are in the top ranking, those guys should fight for the interim title, and then we see what happens after that. Like I'm ready to climb the ladder again. if I was ranked number 2 or 3, I want to fight for the interim title. Why should I wait for someone
Yeah.
who wasn't fighting, jump in to take that spot? And I'm down there running the division, because we are fighting, so we're running it.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think merit should count, right? If you have your fights in your division, that should definitely make sense. Let me ask you this though: like, do you think it's kind of an interesting situation because if they were to make an interim title fight, because let's say Francis is out for a while, what would they do? Because I don't know if Cyril Gane should necessarily fight for an interim title because he fought for one last year. You've got obviously Blaydes and Aspinall. Maybe they can go that route, but then I think you could argue that Aspinall maybe has only fought really one sort of really notable guy in Volkov who you're fighting. What would you do then? Because it's kind of interesting, right? I'm just curious your thoughts on that.
The way I think definitely Blaydes should get a chance.
Okay. So Blaydes so if they were to do an interim fight, you think maybe Blaydes and Aspinall you think would make sense?
I don't know if it's Blaydes and Aspinall, but I definitely think Blaydes should get a chance.
Okay, that makes sense. Most important question in this interview, are you playing any video games this camp? I know last time you said you were off for a bit. What's the latest?
I feel off because I was a little bit busy with personal stuff as well. So I was busy and I didn't get a chance to, and I want to take my time to rest. I train 3 times a day, so I don't really get the time to. I put it on sometimes and I want to play, and I play like maybe 5 minutes, and I'm like, I'm tired. And just put it off and go to bed and stuff. Yeah.
How many times do you nap during a day? I know you nap a lot, right?
I nap 3-4 times a day. Like
3-4 times a day. That's great. That's awesome. But you have long days though, right? Because you're up early and then you train at night too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I can train 6 o'clock and then take a nap till 11 and then go back to the gym and come back. But the naps are pretty short, like 20-30 minutes.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So
okay.
I can't really nap for an hour or 2. It doesn't go. So I nap, wake up, train or eat, and take a nap again.
Have you always been that way, getting those shorter naps and then just sort of do it, or is this something more recent?
It's more recent because I'm not really a napper, like go to sleep during the day. I'm more a busy guy till end of the day, and then I pass out, wake up in the morning, and do the same thing.
Yeah, no, that's nuts. Just one last question because we kind of referenced him there. What did you make of Francis Ngannou with Tyson Fury after he won his fight and them trying to make that matchup? I think people want to see it, but obviously there's the issue of him still being under UFC contract.
I think it may be a wrong move because boxing is different.
Yeah,
the money is there. I would do it if I was him because everybody want the cash, but. He can knock him out. He can knock Fury out in 1, 2, 3, 4 round. But what happened with the other 8 rounds?
Yeah.
So boxing is different, and I think it's different. And you got to be doing it for a while to have it under control. That's my thinking. Because and
I agree with you because I mean we've even seen like Tyron Woodley who isn't a boxer fight Jake Paul and he ended up getting finished in that fight, but Jake's been training just nothing but boxing, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I've been boxing for a while to myself, so I know what I'm talking about.
Of course, yeah. No, I take your word for it over me. It's all good, so that's great. Jairzinho, I don't want to keep you from the swimming training. I really appreciate the time. If there's anyone you'd like to thank, any sponsors or any social media you'd like to plug, I'll give you the last word.
First of all, thank you for having me again, and I want to thank all my sponsors, First Round Management, Music Steroids, and the guys from the Netherlands, top notch. So thank you guys, and I want to thank my family and friends as well.
All right.
Make sure to subscribe to the Low Kick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.